What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the channel. Going over what I've been doing the last few 3 or 4 days since the last video I updated. It is now Friday. It's the first day of the Pendleton Fall Festival, I think that's what it's called. And I'm not there today because I had to work obviously, but I'll be there tomorrow. So I've already taken stuff last night. My mom and I spent 4 hours there setting everything up. She has a lot of stuff. So if you're in the Pendleton, Indiana area and you want to come out, I'm going to be doing some live airbrushing. I've got a couple of things here that I'm going to prep. I'm really not going to show it because I've done it multiple times on the channel of how I get images onto whether it be aluminum or sign or whatever it is I'm painting on a canvas, car. I've showed you multiple times different ways of how I transfer things over, so I won't be showing that part of it, but I am going to be showing a little bit of the live airbrushing. My mom's there today. She said it's crowded, so that's great. It should be really busy tomorrow. Cross fingers the rain holds out, but I've just been slowly, I took stuff over there, but I've been slowly gathering things for tomorrow. These two things I've had in my art room for a few years. I'm going to end up selling those. I think they'll do really well because they're different. They're actually made out of plaster. I've got just stuff, all my paints that I think I'm going to be needing. And then I'm going to take this small one from the auction that we did. I'm going to try to do something really easy. That way maybe I can sell it there for like 40, 50 bucks or whatever. Then I'm going to do this canvas here, an 18 by 24. Got my airbrush stuff, got my little compressor all packed up. But this is just some odds and ends I'm going to be needing to airbrush live there that I didn't bring today because I didn't want it just sitting outside all day and all night. So I'd rather take it the day of. And I've also been working on selling both of my cars that I have, right? Which is, I've been mainly trying to focus on selling the Honda. The Neon is up for sale as well. I'm kind of not really pushing the Neon much just because it is a fun car to have. I've put a lot of time and work into this, and like I said, I really want to build a motor for it and then paint the engine bay and make everything match. Maybe redo the color of the car eventually, but I kind of want to just finish up the bay the way I want it. But it runs so good now, I don't really want to touch the motor either. So I haven't really been pushing on selling this. It is posted for sale. It's been that way. I mean, I've posted it 3 or 4 times, just no bites because, you know, people complain about the color and everything and, oh, it's too expensive, whatever. Can't build it for what I have it priced for, especially with the motor mods that I've done to it. There's just, you can't touch the price. So it's just a really fun car. I really don't want to get rid of it, but you know, I don't need to get rid of it. I'm not getting rid of these cars because of money issues. I'm getting rid of them because I want to kind of get them out of the shop. I'd rather get the money out of them than rather put another, you know, a few $1,000s into them to make them where I want them to be, because I want to use the money, especially on the Honda right now. I want to use the money to, first off, I want to get a better exhaust wall for this, because this fan, it works good. It's just loud, obnoxious, and it really doesn't exhaust the fumes out and overspray quick enough for what I do, especially if you're doing something big. It creates more hassle than anything. So the first thing is I want to get an exhaust wall, and those things run anywhere from $3 to $5 grand depending on which size and what brand you go with. So they're not cheap. So I was going to take the money from the Honda and do that first, and then I want to upgrade kind of the compressor. Even though this is only like a 1.5 years old, I want to upgrade this thing. Because it is loud. The one thing, it's just way loud, and being in a smaller shop, I'd like to get something that has like no noise almost, kind of like my California Air, a little compressor that I airbrush with. So I want to upgrade that thing either to I'd really like a screw set, a screw type compressor, but those things are just, I mean, they're like 10 grand. So as busy I am out here, I can't decide whether to spend that 10 grand or not. But those screw type compressors, you got to run them a lot to make it, worthwhile. But a lot of them have like refrigerators built into them, which I've got an Ingersoll Ram refrigerator, and that's another thing I want to kind of upgrade. This thing, especially when I'm doing big projects, it just can't keep up. So there is some moisture that goes into the lines, and I can tell every once in a while. It'll kind of ruin what I'm doing, but I need to pretty much make this like a 3-phase filter system, and that definitely needs to be bigger. It's really, I mean, it's meant for this compressor, but it's just not, it doesn't keep up well enough and keep the air as clean as I need to. So I need to figure all this stuff out, and you know, that's going to be a few. And other than that, the heat situation in the wintertime kind of sucks out here because it's so cold out in the country area. It's usually 10 to 20 degrees lower than what it is in town. When you go into town, it's just because the wind constantly blows out here. So it's really, this building holds really well because it's spray foam, but as far as the air being heated in here, this can't keep up with it, especially when I have the fans on the exhaust. It sucks all the hot air out. So I need to figure that out too, kind of upgrade that. So I kind of just want to upgrade everything, and I'm trying to do that with, instead of getting in my bank account, I'm trying to use the money from these 2 cars to do that, plus some things around the house I don't want to do. But I've got the Honda for sale really cheap, and that's what I want to kind of go over with you guys is I've got it for sale really cheap, but everybody still wants it for nothing, and the prices that they want it for, I'd rather just leave it outside and let it rot in my yard, to be honest. And that's just me personally. Maybe I got too much of an attachment to this car because it was my very first car, and I've done a lot to this thing, but I'm thinking to actually just keep it and slowly work on it. I don't want to make this channel like another YouTube car channel, you know, whether we're giving it away or not. I don't want it because there's a ton of those out there right now, and some are real, some are fake, just to try to get views. But this would be staying in my collection because it does a little bit of issues. Obviously the tires is number one. I haven't drove this thing, so I haven't really replaced the tires, and there's 3 of them that are really bad. So I already went ahead and ordered some tires for it. So I've got 2 today. The next 2 will be shipping on Monday, so I should get those Monday. So we put new tires on it, make all that gone, and then being an old car, the rust underneath this car was pretty bad. So like, I've already done this once, but the brake system, it works, but you just got to be really careful. It's not like, the car doesn't want to stop like as fast as what you want it to. So I really need to go through and redo the brake lines on it, because I had to pretty much repair some already a couple of years ago, and they're just not holding up. So I need to get, or I've already pretty much ordered a brake line kit, like a steel braided kit for this car. So I need to go through and redo all the brake lines. And after that, the car would be 100% drivable. So I'm thinking just do those 2 things and just drive it. You know, it saves me a lot of money on gas. Or go a little bit further with it and fix everything on the body and repaint the entire car. This car used to be really nice when I first got done with it, like 4.5, 5 years ago when I first got it. I did all this stuff. I bought it bone stock first off, so it was completely stock. The windows weren't even tinted. So I've done everything to this car myself. And it's a 2000. If you don't know anything about Civics, I converted it into a 96 to 98 front end because of the bumper. This bumper was only a 96 to 98. So I had to replace the fenders, the whole front end, pretty much headlights and everything are converted, because the 2000 Civics, the front ends are just a little bit different. The headlights are a little bit skinnier and longer, so it changes everything. So I've done that. Obviously wheels and tires and suspension and things like that, windows tinted, tail lights, just small stuff. But this was the car that, you know, back in the day that everybody wanted pretty much in the early to mid 2000s. So I really want to go through and fix like the dents. Obviously we got some of this rust right here. That's the major thing that drives me nuts is this. It looks like somebody's already tried to repair this, because it looks like it's just, that's what it looks like to me in person. It's obviously been painted. Somebody's burnt this in from the edge down, because you can see the line, because obviously the windows, if you break these windows, it's hard to get them and replace them anymore. So that's probably why they did that. or they're just hacks and they didn't want to do it right. So I think somebody's already tried to repair this once. So my thinking is I need to see what's behind this first before I decide to do this whole car. But obviously I need to fix the rear bumper and fix all this stuff because, you know, it's cracked and stupid stuff like that. But I'm really thinking taking this car and doing like a retro ricer. Not that it's not already riced out with the stuff I've done to it, but I want to really make it really, really nice. I've contemplated, since the rockers do, or the quarter panels on the bumpers do have rust, depending on how bad it is, I've also looked into maybe molding a wide body kit onto the quarters of the rear, just to make it that much more unique. And I mean, I know this isn't for everybody, but this is what I grew up with, and how Civics and imports back in the day, they had body kits on them. They had crazy, you know, headlights, taillights, hoods, things like that. A lot of days now, kids, it's not a popular thing to do. A lot of them shy against it. A lot of them think it's devaluing the car, which, you know, it is. The OEM look is really clean on these cars, but to me, this is where it's at. It's that ricer retro from the early 2000s look that was really, really big. And obviously Fast and Furious kind of set all that off, but I don't want to go crazy with it as far as like doing a full wide body kit on it. I had a buddy back in the day that had one that I grew up around, and it's just too much. I don't necessarily like the look of it, but I think if we keep the front end the way it is, but just clean everything up, like fix the gaps around the headlights and everything, get it a different grille, you know, fix the hood, make sure the hood's all nice, and then get the gaps looking on the front, go around, fix the little dings, and fix the rust on the quarter, and maybe paint it silver, but like a different silver because this is the factory color, or do like a crazy color on it to make it really stand out. I personally, the silver and the black look to it. It's just that old retro look that you don't see these cars have. Usually they're really gaudied out, or they're just not done right and they're rusted. This one's semi-okay as far as the rust on it. And it's kind of got low miles for the age. It's only got like 100,000 miles on it, and it's a 2000. So a lot of these cars are up around 200, 300,000 miles on them, and they're rusted out. They're beat up. They're parted out. You just can't find them as clean as this anymore. So, and my dream thing would be to do the engine bay, put like a B18 motor in it, like a B16, B18, like a Type R type motor in it. But they're just so expensive right now. I don't really want to dump into that because it runs and drives perfectly fine. The exhaust system is loud, and the brakes are kind of a little weird. As long as you get used to them, it's not bad. But if I fix those little issues and then we start working on the body, let me know if you guys would like to see that type of stuff. I know there's a lot of rebuilding cars channels online, but maybe we can do this one to where it's not like too overboard and it still has that original taste to it, that it's not going to be too gaudy. But like I said, we'll just have to see, because like I said, I've been really maybe put like a rear wide body setup on this, and do like different fenders, like fiberglass fenders from back in the day, or keep it the way it is, because like I said, I really like this look. It's not like too bad. Obviously the front end body kit is not for everybody, but everything else is completely stock body wise besides the hood, and it's a really clean look. It's hard to find something like this anymore. So that's my plan. You guys let me know in the comments if that's something you're interested in seeing. Maybe I can keep this car instead of selling it for really cheap, because like I said, I don't need the money. It would be nice to put the money back into the shop to get the things going smoother than what they are currently. But the shop does work right now as it is. It's just I'd like to make it to where it's like I go to work, you know. It's a little bit different. It's kind of hard to explain, but like when I'm at work and I'm in a real paint booth, I'm around in a real shop, and you go home to like a curtain setup like this or a homemade booth or whatever, it just feels different. I don't know what it is. My buddies and I have talked about it that also do this at home. It's just a different feeling. So I'm trying to get this shop to where it feels like that real shop, you know, that real paint, you know. I don't have to worry about too much. I can just go in and do my thing and spray and not have to worry about anything. But also living out in the country, it's a little bit different because you get different bugs, you got like mice, and there's a lot of different issues living out in the country rather than what you are in town. And I don't think a lot of people understand that part of it, because like right now I've got a mouse in my barn somewhere that I got to set a trap out here. I don't know how he got in here, but he must have got in when I had the door open. Just small stuff like that I need to get it to better, efficient running shop to where I can actually just not worry about anything at all. So let me know in the comments. That's what I'm thinking. If you guys got better ideas or something better I can do, or just bite the bullet and spend my own money, just upgrade everything at once in the shop before wintertime comes, and then start working on the car. Because what I really wanted to do this winter was dive into this thing, pull the motor, clean up the engine bay, maybe shave some holes and paint it, and get that done to where everything looks it's a cleaner, make it a cleaner look. Because right now it don't look bad, but engine bay just drives me nuts with it not being painted, whether it be the green or a different color or whatever you want to do with it. But that was for the winter, was to work on the neon. But if I can sell it and not dump that time and money into it, maybe keep the Civic or keep the neon and sell one or the other, get the money, and then do the shop stuff. Or keep both of them, keep both of them, spend my own money, do the shop thing, and just work on these cars slowly and make it a channel thing to where you guys have content to watch and get updated on what I'm doing, and actually learn a thing or two. Because especially when we get in this rust stuff, you're not supposed to be fixing rust. So like there's ways around where you can actually fix it to where you don't have to cut the whole quarter off, things like that. So there's little things I can show you guys and teach you guys of how to do that kind of goes along with the painting process in order to do like a really nice clean setup that a lot of channels aren't doing. So that's kind of what my mindset's thinking, is keep the cars, fix the shop little by little, fix the cars up little by little, give you guys something more than just me sitting down and airbrushing or painting somebody else's stuff, but do my own thing. And in the meantime, when I don't have anything else to do, and still have content rolling. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to. So if you got any opinions, comments, or whatever, concerns, put them down below. But this video is going to continue on to tomorrow when we're at the festival. And when I'm airbrushing, I'm going to show you guys a step-by-step process of what I'm doing, because I think the image is really cool. It kind of goes along with what I've done in the past. But I think, especially in my area / where I'm going to be at, people don't see this stuff all the time, especially like the girl that I have. Like, you just don't see that stuff selling online or in person. So I think things like that go a long ways. A lot of these small town people, they don't get out much. They don't see what's going on online. So I think it's going to be really cool. So I'm going to film it as much as I can. So this will be continued on tomorrow. So see you guys then. This is all my mom's. And this is where I'll be set up all day. Alright, so we're here. It's early. It's like 9 o'clock. Started doing this painting already. Kind of get you guys updated. I'm just mapping it out. Right now I'm using this Shimmering Eclipse orange. I diluted it a lot, so it's kind of like a light peachy color, but I'm just sitting here mapping this out. And I'll map it all out. The plan is to map this all out and go back in with the darker orange and just keep darkening the orange until it's black. And in the black areas that are really black on this image here, they're going to end up being like a really darkish, brownish, blackish orange. and then around it's going to be like a candy orange to kind of glow in certain areas, like maybe around her face, around the rose in some areas, around the flower. I don't know if this is a rose or not, but maybe her eyes, her hair, some parts of her hair. I want to do like a kind of like a neo candy, make it really bright, kind of against that really different shades of orange and against the black to really pop out those areas. So just gonna keep on working, and we'll get this hopefully maybe really close to finish today. We got about 8 hours, but yeah, I'm just gonna jump between this. Kind of want it to be a little bit kind of more like a candy color, if you know what I mean by that. It's just a really vibrant color, and I've got some actually candy orange as well that I'll put over top of this once I get to that area, the very last. But I'll get some black and I'll throw some black in there, and then I'll go between that and throw in some white in there if I need to get really lighter than what I already have, and then pop those things out. And then anything that needs to be texturized or anything like that, I have got my eraser wheel. Since it is on canvas, the benefit of working lighter to darker is if you need to start popping out some of the textures, an eraser is really good to do that. You can do this on metal as well, as long as the color underneath of it has got some clear to it, or else you're going to take that off too. But as long as you work lighter to darker and very, very light, don't really put a lot of paint on there. Like some of these areas right here is really heavied in, but all these other areas are really light, so I can go through here and I erase all that paint off. So that's another trick on getting these textures and stuff like that you see in the flower, maybe her lips, around the skull, and things like that. So we're gonna keep on working. All right, so we're on like the third layer, just been slowly working it up, and then eventually we'll get to the really dark blackish orange areas in the mouse to make everything really pop, and then go back over it with like a candy orange, like I said, and then pop everything out with an eraser. It's kind of like the hair is right here and things like that. So just coming along. What's up, everybody? So as you can tell, I'm back home. Sorry I didn't film very much at the festival, but it's been a long day. I was there really early setting things up. I constantly had anywhere between 5 and 12 people surrounding my area at all times, so like it was really hard to pick up the phone and just start filming what I was doing. So I really didn't do that much. You obviously saw the clips that I was able to show, very short of what I was doing, but I really want to show you guys how far along I got on that panel. But first, the outcome of the festival. Now, unfortunately, I didn't sell anything. I wasn't really expecting to. I was there more for like an exposure type thing, because I've never been to like a small town festival like that where it's mainly arts and crafts. Nothing really majorly expensive, just little knickknacks that people sell or people craft and create, and they just fill their booths with. And you know, things are usually around the $20 to $30 mark. So like my stuff, it's very, very to a niche market, I'd say, and it just wasn't for that market, and I knew that going into it. My mom did really well though. It's more of her style, like arts and crafts. Her paintings sold really well, so happy for that. At least one of us did really good. So, but yeah, like I said, I was just there for mainly exposure, and because I've never been and set up a booth like that at a little festival, so I needed to know, you know, what the market was and things like that, and just kind of gauging. And obviously, I was there just to have fun overall, because like I said, I've never actually set up to. I go to them all the time when they're around, but as far as actually working one and trying to sell stuff at, it's a lot different than just going and walking around and eating food, things like that. So, and then obviously also because I wanted something, you know, it was something for me to do. My wife had a wedding, so I was going to do nothing all day anyway. So it was just something to do with my family. So I signed up to do it with my mom, and my sister was there with her kids, and they were selling like slime and little stuff like that. So they did well as well. But the outcome of it, so like I said, I had constantly people around my booth, I mean, if you want to call it that, or my little area, set up right in front of the sidewalk, as you guys can tell. And what really surprised me was, even though I was working, I was there for about roughly 8 hours. it was 9 to 4, so 7 hours, let's say, but I got there at 8. So I was roughly there for 8 hours. I was probably airbrushing for probably 3 to 4 hours of that, maybe 4.5 hours. The rest of it, I was constantly stopping, talking to people, and then like people just love to talk. So, but when I was airbrushing, the thing that really surprised me was everything else you hear around you, because usually when I'm focused on something, I'm focused on that. I'm not really looking around, which was probably another downfall of me not selling anything, because I really wasn't trying to push my stuff. Everything pretty much had a price on it that I just put on a piece of tape next to it and wrote down the price I thought was fair for it. And that was probably another my downfall, is I probably shouldn't have marked anything. So if you're an artist and you've never done one of these, or if you're going to do one of these fall, like the fall festival or anything around your hometown or state or whatever, it's probably best that you don't put prices on anything and you let the people talk and then ask you, hey, how much is this? And because it creates conversation. And that's one thing I noticed throughout the day. I was like, man, I shouldn't put prices on it, because I think people would have asked me questions more, because I felt like people didn't want to bother me. I get a lot of people saying that I look intimidating just by me walking by them, or them seeing me out in public if they don't know me, let alone me working and airbrushing and focus on something. I feel like people didn't want to stop me. They didn't want to bug me. So it really didn't create a lot of conversation to what I had for sale, even though it was obvious what I had for sale and what I was doing there. And then some people just thought things were prints. I don't know why, but I was there airbrushing right beside where everything was at, and they still thought things were prints, and they didn't understand why it was so expensive. And then some of them looked up and be like, oh, that's actually, he's painting them. It's all done by hand. That was a constant question I got all the time. Like, are these all airbrushed? And it's like, yes, they're all airbrushed. Some people were like, well, why is it this much money rather than this much money? Because everything was individually priced. And I was like, well, this one took more hours. That one took more hours than that one. Got more material on that one. These are clear coated, so they're a little bit more expensive, because I had to, prime them, paint them, airbrush them, clear coat them many times to get everything level. So those are more expensive on that end. People just didn't understand that concept. When they go, especially these little fall festivals and things like that in small towns, usually everything is on a canvas and it's hand painted. And I noticed that because obviously I've been to many of them, but there was a lot of people there saying, like, talking to me, the ones that I did talk to were like, hey, this stuff is really good. Like, you don't see many airbrush artists anymore, even around the big cities and stuff like that. So that just tells me that airbrushing is pretty much almost fallen off in my area, and I was one of the few. And everybody, even when I was working or not working, the main thing I heard just from people behind me talking that I could hear them walking by and stopping and looking at my stuff is that everybody thought everything was so realistic and detailed that they thought the price was worth it. They just didn't have the extra money to spend, which I understand. And I just want to tell you guys that I'm going to show you what I took to give you guys kind of an idea how everything was set up and how I priced stuff. But I didn't price anything over $300. So I priced stuff really cheap. Some of this stuff I fully believe with the time that I put into it, they're anywhere $500, $600, $800, especially like the couple that on here that are really, really nice and they're clear coated and I've spent a lot of time and they're really detailed out. Those things, to me, in my opinion, they're worth more. But obviously I'm the one, holding that back. I'm kind of being the gatekeeper on selling stuff. So if I would have priced everything at $100, I guarantee I would have sold everything today. But I don't want to give my stuff away just to anybody. I want people to I don't want to overcharge for it, but I don't want it just to go to people where they're not going to appreciate it, or maybe they're going to throw it in their closet a month from now and just forget about it. So I'd rather, have people who really want the stuff rather than the people that don't. So I'm going to show you guys what I took. So I took Beetlejuice here. He was one of the more expensive ones. As you can tell, the reason why is because it's really detailed. It's really vibrant. It's clear coated. It's framed. The Yoda was also another one that was really up there along with Beetlejuice as far as price-wise, because it's really detailed, a lot of hours put in it. This was kind of up there because it is clear-coated as well, but it wasn't as expensive because it's not as detailed. I didn't spend as much time on it as I did the other two. This one I just took just to see because it's September, it's Halloween, so that's kind of why I took some of these other ones as well. Kind of tie everything in together. Frankenstein got a lot of really good. I actually priced this one really cheap, just a little over $100, and still nobody bid on it, which is crazy to me because I figured right at $100 somebody would snag this up, because this was probably between this one and the two down there were the favorites. A lot of people like the Friday the 13th because obviously it's movie related. Same way with Beetlejuice and Yoda. A lot of Star Wars fan. It has been really popular this last couple of years. It was really popular, but this one, for some reason, I think people just like the black and gray look, and from a far distance, it just looks really real. So I think people like that, and I wish I would have done more of this kind of smaller, one single color type stuff, just because of that reason. And I took these two pictures to show that I also do cars. A lot of people recognize both cars, mainly the truck, but obviously my cars are selling online, so a lot of people noticed that one as well. And then I took this one, and these were the cheaper ones out of everything, besides the Frankenstein. The Frankenstein, I think, was the cheapest, but since these were clear-coated and metal work and things like that, they were not as expensive as the frame ones. Still up there. Like I said, everything was under, I think, 280 was the highest one. So everything was under there. So I think mainly everything was actually at 260 now I think about it. But I want to show you guys the panel or the canvas that I'm not going to say it's finished. A lot of people will. A lot of people at the festival thought I was finished with it, but I could crank another 5 hours on this thing and really put it the way I want it. But I didn't get it the way I want it because I'd made a rookie mistake and I grabbed the wrong bottle of paint. I really wanted to grab the candy tangerine. I grabbed the candy red on accident, so I didn't have the candy tangerine to do the look that I wanted, and I didn't realize that until halfway into it. So I had to switch my composition up a little bit of what I was going to do with this. Like I said, I wanted it mainly to be really dark with some really bright neon orange colors, and I was going to do that with the candy and the white and just really make that stuff pop, and then bring in the black and start shading everything out and pushing it back. But this is what I came up with just in the little bit of time I worked on it. I probably had a total of 4.5 hours, like I said, in this, but it's fully finished. But as you can tell, it looks pretty good right now. I just need to go through and actually just detail some more of it out, push some more of it back, because the darker orangish blackish colors that where everything looks black, it's actually not. It's got a little bit of orange in the black. It's almost like a candy. I really need to push those back further and draw the orange out more, but this is what it is that I got finished today. So yeah, I mean, not bad. It's a smaller piece of canvas. It's the same size as Frankenstein over here, but you know, nobody really offered me anything on this one. I was really surprised by that. So if you're wanting it the way it is now, you know, make me an offer on it. You know, if you're local and I don't have to ship it, I'd probably sell it for about $100. So same thing with Frankie. If you want any of these, don't be afraid to shoot me a message. Shipping, we'll have to go through shipping, especially if it's a bigger piece. But if you're interested in any of this stuff, hit me up in the comments. I won't be afraid to ship anything to you guys as long as it's covered. Oh yeah, look, I took these two guys too. These are plaster, and I did these a while back, and they're actually automotive painted. So I think I had 60 on the purple, then 80 on the Frank, because the Frank had a little more detail in it than this is just solid purple, and they're straight plaster, so they're heavy. I'm really surprised those didn't sell. Nobody actually mentioned those at all or looked at them. So but I really like Frank. You know, I really want to keep him, so I'm kind of glad it didn't sell. But yeah, just a little bit of knowledge or information if you guys are never been to a festival, or if you're artists and you're planning on going to one, what to expect. You know, the little crafty stuff works. this really detailed stuff. Everybody recognizes that, hey, it looks really detailed and real, but yet isn't worth the price of owning it. And today just wasn't my crowd, which is fine. Like I said, I was just there because I really wanted to go to kind of fill things out, and it gave me a day I could just sit and paint and not really be bothered. So but if you have like your wife or anybody else or husband near you helping you, talking to the customers, that's also a plus, because you could be painting or doing whatever you do selling wise, and then your other significant other could be selling your stuff to the to the people. And I think that's why I fell short today, because it was just me, and my sister would jump in every once in a while, but she doesn't really understand what I do as far as painting, so she wasn't really able to relay what I was doing to the customers. But yeah, a lot of business cards. I went through a lot of business cards. That was one thing that I think everybody grabbed at least one business card, and a lot of people want their cars done, whether it be a full paint job or fixed, or airbrush work, graphics, or whatever. So that's a plus. So if I get one good paint job out of this whole ordeal, then it pretty much pays for my day of being there, my time spent. So that's the way I look at it. It's not really a big deal. I don't really need to sell this stuff. There's a couple of these I really don't want to sell, like the Beetlejuice and the Yoda, Frankenstein. I mean, all of them are really cool, so I really want to just keep them in the shop. That way people have stuff to come look at. I almost took this one. I almost took the big one. I'm really glad I didn't, just because it's heavy and it's big. And if I would have brought that one, I would have probably put $400 or $500 on it, and there's no way anybody would have paid that. If these didn't sell, there's just no way somebody. I mean, they've been cool to look at out in the sun, because it does shine really well out in the sun. But for somebody to actually buy it and haul it, it just wasn't in my cards. So. But yeah, that's it. I'm going to wrap this video up. I'm going to stop talking, and then that's the end of this week. It's Saturday, so tomorrow I'm just going to rest. I'm not going to do much. And then next week, I'm going to jump into these PS5. They've been sitting here clean. I really need to figure out a layout. Like I said, if you got an idea, if you want me to do like the two that I shared with you guys in the video before this video, then comment down below. I'm up to all suggestions. This is my PS5, so I'll be keeping this. So it's my personal. So I want to kind of something that I can tolerate and live with and look at every single day, because I'll have to look at it. But yeah, we're going to jump onto that. So that'll be the next. So look forward to like a mapping out video first, design layout, things like that, and how I got to getting the finished product out of those. But all in all, it was a good airbrush day, a good painting day, a good networking day, if you will, a good day to figure out the market. The markets right now is really weird. You got a lot of people that are financially hurting and don't have the extra money, which was another thing I noticed. The only thing people were really spending money on was eating food. And that just seems like it's never going to die. I mean, people don't care if they want to spend $20 on a cheeseburger, they're going to do it because they're hungry. Food is like, it doesn't, count with this stuff. So it's just a weird time right now. So hopefully the economy will get better. Things will start picking up. People won't be afraid to start spending money on certain things like this, because I really want to do more of either panels, or like try to get into like some antique stuff I can paint on to really sell. There's a lot of cool things that I've got in my head that I'd like to do, kind of like the plaster stuff, like the skull and the Frankenstein head, things like that, little things like that I could do to sell, that are just really quick ones, and then but make them really cool and badass. So but yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys like the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching. See you on the next one.